Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's a big day for our show. It's June 17th already. Actually, nice day in New Jersey. But again, our little young producer Eli is behind the curtain. He'll join us as needed, and set it all up this morning. Looking forward to it. Rob's out of town, so lots of stuff to talk about this week. I know this kind of gets after the Stanley Cup and after the NBA championship. People seem to think there's a lull in sports, but there's not, right? So we of course always jump right into our show, the beginning with our monologue, which is of course sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. So again, I always start the show with just thanks and gratitude to all the people that have been sending well wishes to Steve, and it means a lot to me. And like in particular, I spoke to two of Steve's dear friends, Jim Walsh and Jeremy Bennett, who are loyal listeners of the show, and they reach out to Steve, and just really is just indicative of what kind of the people they are, and that's the kind of people we have listening to the show. So, Steve, I know you're listening today, and like I said, we hope you get you back as soon as possible. And but thank you to everybody for all their thoughts. I appreciate it. So our monologue this week is, I know it's maybe unusual for some, but it's going to be golf. And I know this is, coming off the heels of this whole Live and PGA Tour merger, which I've talked about obviously last week. My feelings on that. But this is the U.S. Open weekend. It's always Father's Day weekend, and this week it's at Los Angeles Country Club. And like, why is that significant? Well, to me, it's significant because the U.S. Open is supposed to be the toughest test in golf. I mean, I know the British Open, the conditions and links golf is completely different, but the U.S. Open, it's been held at, just some great venues like Baltusrol. It's supposed to be difficult. And this golf course that these guys are playing, they're tearing it up. I mean, you had Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler, shoot 62 at a U.S. Open, which is unheard of. It's never been done. Jack Nicklaus never did it. Tiger Woods never did it. But you look at the golf course, and yes, it's a beautiful golf course, and there's long par threes, and it's just, but it's different. It's not supposed to be this wide open. There's really no water on the course, so these guys can hit irons all day long, right down the fairway. That's why they're shooting, and that's not how it's supposed to be. If you can't miss, you can't make the fairway. There's very little penalty damage that you have to recover from, and that's why these guys are lighting it up. And like I said, the U.S. Open, and I will be watching it, no question about it. Always have, always will. But I think this was a little different, and I just wondered what the PGA was thinking. And one of my brother Thomas sent me a thing yesterday because I thought I was the only one saying, "Wait a minute, this doesn't look U.S. Open like. This isn't the 6 to 8 inch rough. If you go in there, then you pay the price. That's why winning the U.S. Open is difficult. But these guys are shooting 11 under par in the States Open. It seems to me a little bit off. But anyway, the U.S. Open is where it's at. I'm just a little confused by the selection of this course for United States Open. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, I've watched the United States Golf Championship for, oh my God, as long as I can remember. I mean, you're talking 40, almost 50 years now. And it's great. So I hope everybody can, we know that the sports is starting to slow down, but we're getting into the mix of baseball, and football is right on the horizon. So anyway, good luck to these guys. I don't see Fowler holding on and winning this, but like I said, they're lighting it up on that golf course. So before we move into some other stuff, there's a couple of, let's do some recaps here, right? French Open was last week, and Novak Djokovic wins it again. I mean, this guy is an absolute machine, and you just can't deny it. I mean, I'm, you know, obviously the French Open missed Rafael Nadal, but we can see that he's suffering from some injuries and he may not be able to recover. But Novak is 35, 36, and shows no signs of slowing up. So congratulations to him. And Iga Swiatek on the women's side, she was dominant, and she won, I think, her third Grand Slam. But you have to really admire this guy. I think it was his 23rd major. I know one of my loyal listeners, Don, I saw him last week and corrected me. I think I said 24th, but I stand corrected, Don. 23 majors and no signs of slowing up. Crazy. So congratulations to the Joker. And it's kind of funny because we got two Jokers to talk about, which we'll talk about the second one in a moment. But I wanted to do a recap of the Belmont Stakes, which was last week, right? The final leg of the Triple Crown. Obviously, we didn't have a Triple Crown winner this year, but there was a milestone. I had Angel of Empire. I had him in all three of the legs of the Triple Crown and gave it his all, but just couldn't pull it off. And Arcangelo wins it, paid a good price, but we've always talked about winning a Triple Crown is very difficult because of the fact that the Belmont is 1.5 miles and it's a marathon for these horses. But it was great, and there was also some notable there. It was Jean Antonucci, the first female trainer to win a Triple Crown race. So you got to congratulations to her. I mean, big time congratulations. Breaking the glass ceiling, as they say. But that was a great race. Going to miss the horse racing, but you know what's coming up, right? Saratoga, I think they open first race is like the middle of July, right? 6 to 7 weeks, I think. They close on Mondays and Tuesdays. But you're going to see some great horses that were in these Triple Crown races are going to run up there at the Travers and the Alabama. And just like if you haven't been up to Saratoga, it's a must for horse racing fans. It's just, you don't even have to be a horse racing fan to go to Saratoga because it's that nice. But, you're going to see some great races. And, this was coming off the 50th anniversary, as we said, of Secretariat's just most dominating win in sports history, I think. 31 lengths. He wins the Belmont Stakes. And 50 years ago, it's hard to believe. But that did happen too. So congratulations to Jean Antonucci. And like I said, we'll see you at the Travers. So let's move on, Rob. Eli is in the background, and he's a big hockey fan. So the Vegas Golden Knights win their first Stanley Cup, right? And well, full disclosure, Eli, right? You're a Devils fan, right? I'm a Rangers fan, but we could still get along, right? I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I had the mic muted. Yeah. Huge win for Vegas. Nice young team, 6 years old. They finally win a Stanley Cup. Well deserved. And I would say absolutely out of all the teams, they deserve it. I mean, Florida, they weren't really supposed to be there. Magically, they beat Boston and all these other teams. So it was pretty exciting to see. It was huge for the Vegas team and for Bruce Cassidy, especially head coach. And tonight is their parade. And unlike every other team, they're doing it at night at 7:00 in Vegas. So it's gonna be like a big, nice, under lights party in Vegas. So it'll be great to see. And of course,
congratulations to the Vegas Knights. And I think Jonathan Marchessault really absolutely deserved the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most important player in that. It was a really tough, gritty, hard fought, and we've talked about it before that winning the Stanley Cup is the most difficult trophy to win in sports. And this is a relatively young team, six years in this league, second Stanley Cup, and they win it.
Yeah, fastest growing expansion team to win a trophy. So huge for this Vegas team, and for Vegas, the first team really to bring it home.
You bet. Congratulations to them. And listen, we've talked about this before. I mean, they got a hockey team now. They're getting a baseball team coming down the road. they got a football team, and a
They got a
basketball
WNBA
team
team.
is.
And
They got a basketball team. They're
yep.
figuring it out now. No question about it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, congratulations, and it was a great long season. But you know what? I mean, would have been a great Cinderella story for Florida. Like
It
I
would have
said,
been.
you were right. They kind of backed their way into the playoffs, but it was a tough, hard fought series, and it was great to watch.
Yeah.
So we move on to the NBA, and the NBA. Again, you got to give credit. This is the second Joker I was referencing earlier. Boy, did this guy Nikolai Jokic just really show the world what kind of a dominating player he's been in the past few seasons. And I thought he got gypped. Thought he should have won his third straight MVP because I don't think much of Joel Embiid at all. But congratulations to them. I mean, you know what? This could have been co-MVPs in that with him and Jamal Murray because they absolutely dominated. Miami behind the curtain pulling for him because I love the backstory of where he was and how he got to where he is today. And so big disappointment from Florida, right? The Panthers and the Miami Heat make the finals, and neither one of them comes out with a championship. So
Yeah, and they both lose by 5 points at least. It was 6 for Florida Panthers, and Miami was by 5. It was 89-94 for Miami. So pretty
right,
incredible to see
yep,
by at least 5 points for both teams.
yeah,
It's almost accurate.
yeah. But what a dominating performance this Joker put up there. He really,
Absolutely.
like I said, he's been in this league for 8 years, and to be quite honest with you, I didn't know really anything about him. We don't get to see
Yeah.
a lot of West Coast basketball,
Yeah, and if
certainly
it is
early
West
in
Coast
his career.
basketball, it's either the Lakers or the Warriors because that's what they, care for. It's all about,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's huge
but
for
this
Denver.
is the first championship in Denver Nuggets history, right?
Yes.
47 years, I think it was, right?
Yes, I believe so. And it's a
Amazing.
back-to-back Denver win because last year the Colorado Avalanche won.
That's right.
And now
Yep,
this year you
exactly
have
right.
Denver Nuggets. So it's huge for Denver. At least now you get back-to-back 2 different teams now winning something. Now they say the Broncos, but no chance because sorry. I don't
Well,
got
listen,
hopes. Russell Wilson.
I know, but they do have a better chance because now they have a
Now they
head
have a good
football
coach.
coach.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Sean Payton, yeah.
So,
And then they
anyway,
have
but congratulations to
the NBA
the
draft is
Denver
coming up
Nuggets.
June
Huh?
22nd. NBA draft
What?
June 22nd. This Thursday it's coming up.
Well, I think we know who the first draft pick is going to
Yeah.
be, right?
Obviously, it's gonna be
Obviously,
that
right?
I forgot
Wembenyama,
his name.
is his name is, right?
Yeah.
Kind of funny because he was playing in France and they got swept in the finals
Yeah.
of that series. But anyway, so that was great to see, and these are long seasons, the NBA
Oh yeah.
and the NHL. So it was great to see. But like I said, there's still a lot of stuff going on in sports. And let's move right on to Major League Baseball. Like I said, we're from the East Coast, right? So you're either a Mets fan or a Yankees fan for the most part. And the Mets, they've been struggling, and they just get bashed on this sports talk radio like they're falling to pieces. We knew what we were getting going in, right? We knew we had 2 40-year-old pitchers, and they're paying them a fortune, But Buck Showalter's holding these guys together. I don't think the Mets are a World Series caliber team. I just look at their lineup across the with Canna and McNeil and Nimmo. Those are good players, but now they're sitting waiting for Pete Alonso to come back after getting hit on the wrist. But the Mets will be fine. I mean, they're not going to win the division. Atlanta and the Dodgers in the National League are clearly the front runners to make the World Series, but just lay off Buck Showalter. He'll figure this stuff out. These guys that haven't been hitting will start hitting, and the Mets will be fine. And the Yankees, right? Their star player, Aaron Judge, still battling an injury from that ridiculous catch he made in Dodger Stadium, where like I said, I can't believe they have that outfield wall just like that, and that's exactly what happened. And he He rams his foot into a concrete curb. It's really unbelievable. But the Yankees are hanging in there, right? Derek Cole is pitching like we expect Derek Cole. This is the kind of performance we hope Derek Cole gives us in the playoffs. But right now he's looking good. And I got to give a shout out to these guys. The Shohei Ohtani, I know he's considered the best player probably in the game. Maybe him and Judge, you could argue either way. But this guy's having an incredible year. And I didn't think he could sustain this pitching every fifth day and hitting the ball like he is. And again, yeah, he's on the Angels. The Angels aren't going anywhere. They'll hover around 500. We're looking at it because Mike Trout, he's staying relatively healthy. But, over the course of time, I think he's got to be his 10th or 11th or maybe even 12th season, which is hard to believe. Remember, he was a rookie. But they don't have enough to win it. But he's going to be, the Shohei Ohtani is going to be the prize catch in the baseball offseason when he's a free agent. And there's a lot of discussion about where's he going to go. Well, certainly Steve Cohen and the Mets can pay him, and the Yankees, they could pay him. I just don't know. Excuse me, if he's going to come to the East Coast. He's a California guy, and then a lot of people say, there's great population of the Asian community in Los Angeles. So the Dodgers or the Giants are going to make just as big a run for this guy. But he really is. He's performing at a level that is unexpected to me. I didn't see that he could sustain this, but he is really, you got to consider him. But you also have to be weary of these long-term deals that these guys are signing. And, I think Ohtani is 29 years old, right? So, we're talking possibly that maybe the first $500 million player in Major League Baseball. And like I said, if he keeps performing the way he is, everyone's going to make a run at it. But where he ends up is going to be determined by him and him alone, because money's not going to be the object at any cost. But baseball is, I think we're less than 100 games to go. Long season. Call the dog days of summer, and people got to stay healthy if they're going to win this. But you look at the Dodgers, and Mookie Betts is playing out of his mind. He's just been a great player for the Dodgers, and now they got Freddie Freeman. It's amazing. They can't believe they haven't won more World Series than they have in the past 5 years with this team. But they're looking pretty good. But Yankees are in Boston this weekend, and it looks like they're got crushed last night. But great steal from home from IKF last week, and you rarely see that in baseball. That was cool to see. And he's a player that I like. And, these young guys, while Judge is out, right, you got Bowers and those types of players are starting to, McKinney, these kids are hitting. This is their golden opportunity to make the major leagues. And when they're performing like they are now, that's good for the Yankees until Judge gets back. So, Eli, you're a Mets fan, I'm guessing? I don't know.
I'm a Yankees fan. I mean, I really don't watch too much baseball, but if I do watch it, okay. Yankees would be the team, obviously. Without Aaron Judge, it's been a little bit of an interesting road, but
right. But they're hanging in there. They're winning games and, staying along. I mean, it's going to be a tough road for them to catch up to the hot start that Tampa's had.
Correct.
Right. But all they need to do is get into the playoffs, and anything can happen. But, you got to look at Tampa, and this McClanahan is pitching, probably going to win the Cy Young. I mean, nobody can hit this guy right now. So that's pretty good for them. And they get a lot of injuries, but they still hit home runs, and they're still one of the best teams certainly in the American League. But can they hold on? Because this is a long season. Injuries happen, and we'll see how that goes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So and I know this is Eli's thing, is the NFL, right? So there's a couple things going on, right? The OTAs, there's been some kind of craziness going on with the Stephon Diggs thing in Buffalo, which I don't know all the details behind it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a money thing.
yeah.
I think it's the way they ended their season last year.
Yeah, from what the
right?
reports said, I think he just needed a day off. That's what Stephon Diggs told the coach and everybody. Now, I don't know why he would miss it. Like that kind of got me concerned. I was like, okay, great. Where is he going to go now? But I think he still had like another year or two left in the contract. I mean,
Yeah, no,
Stephon,
he's making money. They're paying
yeah, he's doing
him.
good.
It's not a
I
money
don't know.
thing.
I
Yeah.
think it was just, I think he just needed a day off. That was my honest guess because he was perfectly
I
fine.
know, but when you think about that, he needs a day off. He's been off for 6 months, for crying out loud. He needs a
I
day
know,
off.
but I guess he needs another one.
Right, but
like they don't get enough.
right. But when we talk about the NFL, this is a pet peeve of mine, and I've talked about it on the show before. These guys that have contracts, right, holding out, and this is not going to work out for these guys. You see this guy, Chris Jones, right? Great player for Kansas City, right? Final year of a 4-year, $80 million contract, probably got 40 or at least 50 maybe of that guaranteed. So now he's holding out for a new contract before his current contract expires. That drives me crazy. And I hope these teams stand up. We're going through the same thing with the Giants and Saquon Barkley, right? He's under contract, right? So they franchise tagged him. And if he wants to play this hardball kind of thing, just look at what went on with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, basically, he tried this approach, says, I'm not signing the franchise tag, so he doesn't get paid. And listen, I think the Giants absolutely need Saquon Barkley. I think he's
Absolutely
still
agree.
a great player. He hasn't, lived up to the potential. He's had some injuries, but these guys are under contract. And I think about this. It's going on with Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor now, right? He's a young kid, right? But this whole situation with, they're paying these quarterbacks so much money that there's not a lot left for these running backs. And that's what these guys are saying. So the Giants offered Saquon Barkley a nice deal. I mean, and he turned it down. So, this could backfire on him, but it's always been a pet peeve of mine. And I think, like I said, if you're under contract, live out your contract. I know these guys want money, and I know it's a tough sport, and you could get a career-ending injury at any point in time. But the Kansas City Chiefs paid Chris Jones, and he should be playing for this year. And if he's still that kind of a player, then he gets that new contract. But the holding out is just, to me, driving me crazy. And
absolutely,
so like I said, we're in OTAs, right? So we're closing in on July when training camp really opens, and then the start of the season is only a couple months away. And I know the Jets are thinking, they're going to the Super Bowl because Aaron Rodgers is greatest thing ever. But I don't see it. So. I think
nope.
You look at the AFC, you got guys like Josh Allen and the Bills. You got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I mean, people are just putting the Jets in the Super Bowl, and and Joe Burrow. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is maybe the 4th or 5th best quarterback.
Absolutely.
In the AFC, right? I mean, he's like 39 years old. So is he Tom Brady? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But, they said the other day we were going to add it onto our show if we would have had it this week. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft from the Patriots. They said that they have a shot. It's like, okay, you're adding too many teams now. It's like the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals are definitely going to be in it. The other team, it's the 50-50 shot. I mean,
absolutely.
When you look at the Jets, they're not going to be at the level they want. If they're lucky, maybe they'll make it to the wild card round, but there's no other competition against these other better teams unless they have a phenomenal season. And the Patriots, I don't see them going far. I really don't. They're it's going to be a rough AFC. They really need to use every moment and time wisely. And after that week 1 game, take note of it and move on from there. And the biggest test for the Jets is going to be versus the Bills week 1 on Monday night in MetLife.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge, huge test for the Jets, and that'll tell them, are they Super Bowl worthy? Are they playoff worthy? That'll really be the ultimate question. And that was kind of like the Seahawks with Denver last year. We said after that opening week, we said if the Seahawks could win, they might have a chance. If not, then Russell Wilson was the key to the Seattle team. And clearly we noticed it was kind of a little bit Russell because we ended up winning that game and we ended up going to the wild card round. Denver never had that opportunity. And then, of course, Sean Payne, but a lot to argue there.
You got a couple of things going on here. When you look at the Patriots, right? On paper, it doesn't look like they have this all-star caliber roster. But they made some changes. Last year was a disaster. I don't know what Belichick was thinking, turning the offense over to Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. It was ridiculous for Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a solid quarterback. And now, if he's got an offensive coordinator that could work around his specific talents, that could be a bounce back year. But, time's winding down on Belichick. And like I said, this is going to be the first time that, Devin McCourty, St. Joe's guy, right, retired. So that's a big loss for them. But you're right. The AFC is loaded. And, pretty much in the NFC, like
anything's
I said,
open. Anything's open for the NFC. Like you might, 1 year someone could do good. And then the next year it's like, what just happened? And we noticed that a lot. Like, same way, once Tom Brady, started slowing down, it was like, whoa, what happened? And then,
Yep. Listen, obviously the Eagles are probably still the team to beat. But can they duplicate that? Is Jalen Hurts that kind of a quarterback to talk in the same conversation with Burrow?
And also remember, the Eagles lost their defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. They both, I believe, went to Arizona. How much of an impact is that going to be? Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl and they had a phenomenal run. Obviously, that was not the ending I wanted for the Super Bowl. However, that's what you have to deal with. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that could affect the Eagles. Now you have new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. How much are these players going to adapt to it? Are they going to like the old styles better? And the week one is going to be the test. Are they still Super Bowl worthy? And that'll be the question answered, knowing with all these changes for Philadelphia.
And listen, you're absolutely right, because, what Brian Daboll has brought to the Giants is, obviously the burden is on Daniel Jones. Is he worth $40 million, right? I liked him. I've always liked him since the start. He had some crappy coaches. So his first 4 years in the league were absolutely, not equivalent to the talent that I think he possesses. And Brian Daboll is a top quality coach. And the Giants had a great draft. So listen, can't rule them out in the NFC. I mean, at least he'll get them to the playoffs again. They got a lot of good talent. There's Jalen Hyatt. He's a stud wide receiver. I really like this kid. And but we'll see. Like I said, it's clearly on. Can they win this without Saquon Barkley? I don't Barkley
think they can. I mean, he's too good of a player. I mean, the Giants should be.
Yeah. But you're a Baltimore, Indianapolis Colts guy, right?
No, I'm Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, you're the Seattle guy. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Jack is the Colts fan.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And just as a little plug for Eli and Jack, right?
Yeah.
Name your show. Tell
the 12th Horseshoe Podcast. 12th Horseshoe Podcast. It'll be on Surge TV, YouTube. It'll be on, I believe, Wednesday this week. I'll have to double check with him, but it'll be sometime this week. We'll talk about the news, and we're going to have early predictions for the next 2 weeks. And as we're almost winding down to preseason kickoff and week one, we're almost there.
All right. And at some point, you could expand beyond the NFL, and because you seem well-rounded in a lot of sports. So good luck to you on your show. And
thank you.
Like I said, great to have you on this show. Like I said, this is great to have you. So let's move on to our random points of interest. It's our segment here, which is, of course, sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And just a few little one-offs, right? Congrats to Andrew McCutchen, got his 2000th career hit, that's a milestone. He's been in this league for a while, so put it into perspective, McCutcheon 2,000 hits. Think about getting 3,000 hits, and even though I loathe Pete Rose now as a baseball player, he was great. He had 4,000 hits. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But 2,000 hits for him. He's had a good career. He's always been a serviceable player, and congratulations to him. So I think up next is a couple of guys that are on the list. I don't know if we're going to see a 3,000 hit guy for quite a while yet. You got guys like Nelson Cruz and who else was up there? Joey Votto. These guys have 2,000 hits, but none of them are going to get to 3,000. But
No.
That was notable, I thought, right? A couple other things. Longtime Notre Dame athletic director Jack Swibert steps down from Notre Dame, and they go out and they hire a guy who runs NC Sports. I think that's what kind of prestigious job that is in college sports, to be the athletic director at Notre Dame. And Jack did a great job, and like I said, Notre Dame won their first lacrosse national championship in his last year there, so that was cool. And
he left behind a lot of milestones.
And he was right all in on this Marcus Freeman hiring, which was I guess you consider it a big gamble, but I like what he's doing. And there's the star running back at Notre Dame this year is a St. Joe's guy, Audric Estime. I hate to bring it up again.
Yeah, I know, but you're right, though. I mean, St. Joe's, they got all the guys. I mean,
yep.
We can't complain us at St. Mary's because Nick Boyd, he went to the Final Four. So, I mean, you can't complain about that. I mean,
hey, no.
And huge for such a small school. So,
Absolutely. He was an interesting thing. This guy, Jamar Gibbs, right? He was the number one pick, running back, surprise number one pick for the Detroit Lions. And he came out and said, these NFL practices are pieces of cake compared to what Nick Saban put us through at Alabama. And we talk about it. Nick Saban is just, he's all about football, and him and Belichick are best of friends, and, everything. He leaves no stones unturned. And, I thought that was pretty funny to say a Nick Saban practice is a hell of a lot harder. But even though they haven't gone through training camp yet, these OTAs are just indicative of just showing up who's going to be there. But I thought that was a pretty funny statement.
Yeah. Did you also see that Jaguars are possibly? Oh, sorry about that. Did you see Jaguars are possibly looking at Daytona International Speedway for a home while renovations are happening? I thought that was a little bit.
Actually,
I was a little bit shocked. I'm like, okay, out of all the stadium choices, I don't know about a Speedway. I don't know. I mean,
hey, listen, that you could possibly
if it's going to work to
give them a win. Yeah,
I mean, it'll work.
Yeah. A couple other quick things. We talked about it before, right? The A's, they're 100% moving. They did this. The fans did this reverse boycott, which was kind of funny, right? Yeah. So they had 27,000 fans, and they were only averaging like literally 9,000 people a game. And this is, I don't know what the intent of that was, but it was good to see that 27,000 people went to a game. That's the highest attendance they'll have, but they're moving to Vegas, and there's no doubt about that. So
we'll see how much the numbers increase. I mean, I know the fans, they wanted a new stadium. They wanted more from this team, and hopefully when they do move to Vegas, it'll be beneficial, bring back the fan level, and hopefully bring some people in Vegas to become part of Major League fans and community. Like, sure, if I was living in Vegas, if I didn't know much about sports, where I was, in Vegas, I would definitely, become an A's fan,
No question. You always root for your local team. No question about it. That's how it's done. But they got I don't know much about the stadium that they're putting in, but there's got to be a roof on it because it gets so hot in Las Vegas in the summer.
Oh, I know.
Got to be a roof on it. Got to be.
There has to be.
Yep. So also, and I know one of our loyal listeners, Diego, is our resident soccer expert. But this whole story with this United States men's national team, right? Greg Berhalter comes back after this little quote unquote scandal. I don't know how valid it was or how much complicit he was in this thing, but they bring him back, coach the men's national team. And, I watched the actual game the other night against Mexico, and it was like as physical a game, and as you can see. But that was interesting thing. They had a couple interim guys in there, and I guess they realized that this guy Burkholder is the right guy to lead this, and we'll see about that. But little soccer blurb for Diego out there. And final random point is, and again, it's almost like Kyrie Irving. I think I made a promise not to have to bring this guy's name up again, Antonio Brown, right? Oh. He's the quote unquote the owner of this Arena League football in Albany, and he doesn't pay his bills, and he does press conferences with no shirt on. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, what a terrible look. I mean, and
I know
the fact that we bring him up is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Right. Anyway.
Sure, I would have loved to been that.
Just bringing that up as a random point because I know, but I don't know who goes to see arena football. Who watches the USFL? Who watches the XFL? I don't know who's watching this stuff.
No, I sure don't. Once NFL is done, I'm done.
Right. I don't exactly. And even though, listen, I can't stand the greed of the NFL and that they're moving ultimately the playoffs and someday the Super Bowl is going to be on.
Absolutely.
You got to pay to watch it. No more freebies on Fox or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, wait. Once NBC gets their contract done, wait till Peacock starts taking over and Amazon Prime when they start want to get in it. And then ESPN soon, 2026, they have ESPN is hosting the Super Bowl. So first time in a while, and will they be on ESPN Plus? What do we have to expect? So it's obviously a waiting game, and it's coming. Yep. We know that for sure.
I know. They've already said that next year or this season, you're going to have to. One of the games is going to be on Peacock, and to watch it, you got to pay for it.
And the playoff. So
they nickel and dime us to death, and nobody makes more money than the National Football League, and they just
absolutely.
Agreed. I mean, you got to pay Roger Goodell his $65 million a year, but he works for the owners.
The fact that the Peacock game is now a wild card game, that's annoying because it's only 6 games and it's the playoffs. Everybody wants to know who wins. And the fact that you have to pay to go on a streaming service, it's annoying. I pray to God that one of these New York teams wins, whether the Jets or Giants, and they're in the wild card game and it's on Peacock, because then it'll be on NBC at least. They'll have no choice because they have to go to the local market.
Well,
So, that's the only time that I'll root for the team, just so we could see the game, see what happens.
You got it. Good point. So, Eli, this is our book recommendation segment, which was, given to us by Andrew Carolyn, who I know is listening to the show. And last week I brought up, it was an autobiography of Tom Landry. That was awesome. By the way, the book, I hope you can read it. It was written with him and Greg Lewis. But this week, some weeks it's sports, some weeks it's not. And this week there's a couple of reasons why I'm bringing this up. The book is Silent Coup, Removal of a President. And this was about the Watergate scandal back in the 70s, right? With ultimately forced Richard Nixon to resign. The book was written by Len Kolodny and Robert Gettin. And I read it. It's actually amazing. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because there was a documentary on HBO called The White House Plumbers. And these were the guys behind it that broke into the Watergate building and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons that I brought this book up. But it's a topic that I'm certain don't know really anything about. But I certainly do. Lived through it. It was the only time a reigning president had to resign office. And but it's a great story. The White House Plumbers thing on HBO was kind of, I'm going to say, lame. It was 5 parts, but I watched it because I've always been interested in the topic. But it just didn't come off as indicative of really the behind the scenes portrayal of the G. Gordon Liddy's and the E. Howard Hunts. But I stuck with it. I watched it, and it was good performance. I think Justin Theroux was in it with Woody Harrelson. But I bring this story up because we're going to mention some regarding the whole story with Watergate and Nixon's resignation and notable passings, which, like I said, we bring up books that I think would pique the interest of our listeners, and some topics may not be known to these guys, but if you want to know a little bit more about Watergate, then this is a perfect book for you to read. So I have a picture, Eli. I sent you this morning. I'd like to bring up because my grandchildren on their first foreign soil trip, there they are.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Grandson Logan and my granddaughter Hayden. So I just love these kids, and I could see that they're having a wonderful time, great experience for them, and they'll be coming back, I think, tomorrow. Been there for at least a week. But and listen, Logan is he's my grandson, and he's big into sports. May even have him on our show at some point as a little a guest.
Yeah.
But he's really athletic, and that's the first time I saw a picture of him where I looked. It's not this cute little grandson anymore. This is a kid growing up into, he's going to be 10 years old in his next birthday, and he's into sports. And like I said, he's a Patrick Mahomes fan like nobody else. So
yeah,
I'm happy for them that they're over there having a great time. So we move on to our notable passing segment, and this again, not to rain on the show at all in any negative way. It's we bring it up because these are people that most people know about, either in entertainment or sports. But Pat Robertson, 93 years old, and Pat Robertson not only was, he was a businessman, but he was also a preacher. Whether you agree or disagree with him, he was certainly a part of, let's say, pop culture in the religion world for many years. And, he passed away at the age of 93. And there was a couple other ones that I wanted to bring up too. Jim Turner. Jim Turner was the kicker for the Jets in the Super Bowl victory over the Colts. Sorry, your buddy Jack, but that was long before his day. But Jim Turner scored 10 points in that game. He kicked 3 field goals. He was one of those straight-on kickers back then, high top shoes. Ultimately, got a ring with the Jets, and then had a great career for Denver, and played in another Super Bowl with Denver against the Dallas Cowboys, which the Cowboys actually blew them out. But Jim Turner was 82 years old. And I mention this because we've seen this, over the past almost 2 years. A lot of those members of that 69 championship team for the Jets have been passing away. But I certainly wanted to mention that Jim Turner was a solid player. When he retired in football, he was the second leading all-time scorer, which has certainly been surpassed, right, with the kickers, what we've seen, right, Vinatieri's, and who's the guy for who's the other one for the Ravens who's kicking for
Turner? Tucker?
Justin Tucker, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these guys have long surpassed him, but Jim Turner, 82 years old, certainly notable in the world of sports. And another one from the New York Giants, right? Homer Jones. Homer Jones was 82 years old. And there's a couple of things notable about Homer Jones. Yes, he played for some crappy Giants teams in the mid 60s, and but he was the first guy to spike the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's gotten to an art form, but that started with him. And not only that, but Homer Jones is still the number one receiver in NFL history with an average of 22.3 yards per catch. Still hasn't been beaten over all the Jerry Rices and all these other things. Homer Jones still owns that record in the National Football League all these years later. And
Wow.
very notable, number 45 in the Giants. And yes, he played on some crappy teams, but he caught the ball at a clip of 22.3 yards per catch throughout his career. Excellent, excellent, excellent. One other one from the world of football, and it was kind of Ray Lewis's son passed away. Ray Lewis, Hall of Famer, obviously for the Ravens, and his son Ray Lewis III, I think it was just 28 years old. And you see this time and time again. Can't get away from it. Don't know the backstory or the cause of death, but 28 is a young age to go. But that's Ray Lewis, question about it. One of the greatest football players of our generation. Didn't care for his off the field antics, but I wanted to give a shout out to him on that. And notable I brought it up, and that's why I was relating the book, Silent Coup recommendation. Daniel Ellsberg was passed away at 92 years old. And Daniel Ellsberg, very pivotal in the whole Vietnam War. He released what they called the Pentagon Papers back then, and it was almost considered treasonous, to bash the current administration and the Vietnam War, which was one of the most unpopular and just almost unnecessary wars that we lost so many people. But Daniel Ellsberg figured into this, and we talked about the White House plumbers before, so they broke into his psychiatrist's office and they tried to get all this documentation because it was a bad look for the Nixon administration and the Johnson administration before that. So, like I said, the whole Watergate scandal, and it just was odd that I brought this up because Daniel Ellsberg was pivotal in this. And ultimately, charges against him were dropped for treason and so forth. And, it was pivotal in the world of politics and, people protesting. So just wanted to note that. And one other one from the world of Hollywood was Treat Williams. He's an actor in a lot of different stuff. Was in the movie Hair and Everwood, motorcycle accident of all things, 71 years old. But I've seen a bunch of movies with him, and that was certainly notable in the world of sports. The world of entertainment. So Treat Williams, 71. So those are a few things. And like I said, they're notable in entertainment or pop culture or sports. But if it's notable, then we bring it up on the show for sure. So, folks, again, I can't thank everybody enough for the loyal listeners and all the support that we get for the show, and our listenership is growing up. And I'm so happy to have Eli as part of the show now and going forward. And like I said, can't thank everybody enough for their support and our sponsors and everybody. And Eli, I'm wishing you and your partner Jack good luck on your show.
Thank you.
We don't have to view ourselves as competitors here. There's enough space out there for everybody. And if you know what you're talking about, people will listen. So thanks again for everybody and all the support for Steve. And I consider this is a groundbreaking show with our new young producer, and we're going to get a little bit more savvy into the world of social media, which is, I keep telling people I'm a content guy. I'm not a producer, but I'm looking forward to working with Eli going forward on the show. And again, you can always send us an email at sportswithmanoandmano@gmail.com, which is, I get some great emails during the week. And, when they come in, like I said, I had a great email from Jim Smith, a loyal listener a few weeks ago, and we bring it up on the show. So, if you send us an email, give us your thoughts on any topic from NFL, NHL, whatever it may be. We love to hear from you, and just can't thank you guys enough. So everybody enjoy. It's Father's Day weekend, so all our fathers out there, happy Father's Day. and enjoy the final round of the U.S. Open, which, I don't know. These guys going to be shooting 20 under. I don't know, but I know the course always gets tougher on Sunday, right? Nerves
Oh
and,
yeah.
and in placements and things like that. But, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And we'll catch up to you guys next week. And same time, same place.
Yep.
And Eli, thanks for taking over for Rob in this. And good luck to your show. And we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.